What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. We are back in the roguelite fields today. Yes, another genre I love, and one that, well, these keep coming. It's kind of amazing that it's amazing that this genre went from something very obscure, frankly, not that many years ago, to just something that everybody's putting something out in now, and I quite like it. It's funny because I tend to finish the majority of games I start. I finished very few roguelites, even though I really love playing them. I don't know, it's an odd thing with that, but we got another one here today, and this has some cool things that I wanted to show you. So this is Trinity Fusion, and well, you're going to see a lot of things in this that look like Dead Cells, and I do not say that to knock it, because Dead Cells was one of the finest roguelites ever made, and there are a lot of good things that one can take inspiration from with that game. I'm actually glad to see some developers taking some lessons to heart from that, and this is definitely doing that, but it's a very different kind of narrative and universe that we've got going on in this one. So I've been playing this for a little while now. I've done a decent number of runs, and you're going to see here on the screen that we've got 3 characters. So that's what's interesting. Well, there's technically 4, but at least so far you're only playing as 3. So the idea behind this game is that this takes place in a world where everything has been split up into multiverses. So there are multiple versions of the same world that are taking place simultaneously. It was a way to sort of split humanity into these different worlds to help prevent and resolve conflicts, basically. But everything's bleeding together, and there is major conflict going on within this multiverse that you're trying to sort out. And as a result, there are multiple versions of yourself here, and you can actually change between these, and depending what character you choose to play, it will actually change the levels that you have, how those are designed. Each of these characters has different abilities, strengths, and weaknesses, and at certain points in your runs, you actually have the ability to spend some in-game currency, if you have it from a run, to merge with one of these and kind of get a cool fusion, hence the name of the game. And it's a neat concept that I've been enjoying a lot. So you have one that's much more melee focused, one that's a bit more range focused, and the other one, I can't remember her specialty. I think she's kind of somewhere in the middle. But this is the hub area that we're in now, and there's actually multiple characters here that you can talk to. So this is the 4th one of you here, the one that's stuck in here. And there is some lore in this. I'm not going to go too far into it. If you are interested in the lore of this, there is a lore section here, and you unlock entries to this as you go. You see, I still have quite a few left to go, actually. And each of these characters in this area will sometimes have conversations unlock. They are all voiced, though nobody's mouths move, which I find kind of strange. But there's a little bit of that you'll see. I'm not going to waste too much time on that here, but each of these characters has sometimes different things to say that you can learn as you progress along, and each of them also provides different upgrades. So there's sort of 2 types of currencies that you'll get throughout your run in the game. You can see them on the right side of the screen there, and one of them allows you to do what are called combat upgrades. These are permanent, roguelite after all. So these are permanent, and these are extra things that will help enhance your runs and make them a little easier as you go along. And you also have what are called psychic augments. And if you're comparing, if you're comparing these things to Dead Cells, the combat things are permanent things that you unlock to become available in your runs. These are actual stat boosts that you can apply to yourself to make things a little easier. And you can actually, I actually have enough currency here to unlock more slots. Sweet. So you can do that, and you see you get extra health. You can boost up your crit chance. This is a nice option here. Quick rest at below 25% HP at the end of a level. Start with 25% again. So sort of an insta heal, kind of cool things like that. So I actually don't really have anything to put in that slot, but that's okay. So you can upgrade those as you go as well. And then in between runs, you can change your character to a different one if you like. And then you go and start going through their particular multiverse, to get to the end of things. And these universes are very different. They have different kinds of enemies in them, very different types of visual style and terrain design. different types of abilities that they require. Like, for example, this character has a double jump. The melee focused character out of the box does not. But the levels will adapt to what your different characters have. So for example, if you start playing with the character that doesn't have double jump, but you then fuse with the character that does have double jump, levels will start to change to take that into account. So this is a roguelite, so it has kind of like Dead Cells does. This is the levels are randomly generated, but there only certain parameters of them are randomly generated. So as you do multiple runs, you're going to start seeing a lot of similarities in certain levels. There are core elements that are always going to be there regardless, but the edges around that will change, and that's what makes things a little bit more interesting. So I have two different types of weapons here. Again, very similar to other games. I've got a sort of standard melee one. I have another more powerful weapon that's kind of again, a ranged one in this case, that uses that energy meter, which recharges by doing standard hits. And some characters as well, you can unlock a third weapon as well that binds to one of the triggers that you can use, which again is more melee focused. And as you go through here, you're going to be taking out various different enemies. There are some common ones and others that are unique to each run. At least that's been my experience so far. You pick up weapons as you go. You can compare them. You can unlock an ability. You don't start with this, that allows you to dismantle weapons that you don't want into the game's currency. This is a chest here, and you have these abilities that you can pick up as well. So one of those is a heal. Now I only have one of those, and once that's used, it's gone. But as you go along, you'll pick up different abilities that you can use. Some of them are one time, some of them are multi-use, but have cooldowns that can either do certain specific kinds of attacks or give you enhancements, or do other things like freeze enemies or electrocute them. As well, you can get those different elemental bonuses on your weapons depending on the ones that you're picking up as well. So and as you can see here, you'll regularly get to these stations where you can pick a different type of power up that applies to your entire run. Now you're going to see there at the top the colors for each of these three things. So what happens here is if you pick one of these and you choose to go down a certain track more than another and fully level up, fully fill in one of those colors at the top, you will get a significant additional bonus that is based on that color. So for example, green or health related bonuses, right? So if you max out the green color, you'll get a major bonus that is health related. Same with all the other ones, and you can max out multiple ones. And some power-ups that you'll pick up actually give you one in multiple colors. So you can actually sometimes, you know, if you get the right combination of things, you can level up multiple things fast, and that is key. There will always be people who will argue about what combinations are ideal, right? So this is what's called the special chest here. I can spend a little bit of money to get a partial health restore item. I don't really need that. There are also cursed chests, which will give you loot but apply a curse to you, so you'll have a negative status effect, and you'll have to do a certain number of a particular thing in order to make that go away. Okay, I'm not paying too close attention here, but like, here's one of my abilities here, freezes everything on the screen, but because it was yellow, you'll see that it's gone now. So that was a one and done use. Red ones are ones that are more permanent, and those can include things like temporary buffs. One of them that I like to use a lot is like an uppercut ability that will make enemies airborne while doing a significant amount of damage, you know, stuff like that. And there will be lots of people who will argue over what are the ideal types of builds and things like that, and I'm sure there are ones, but it's really down to preference. You know, you're not always going to be able to pick the ideal thing that you always want, because the pickups that you're offered are random. So you have to sort of learn them and learn what's going to work best for the way that you want to play stuff, whether you're focusing more on melee, whether you're focusing more on close up, you know, the character class you're playing, whether you're like me and tend to run into battles approaching them way too quick and get yourself killed sooner than you should. Don't fault me. I'm not a perfect person. Or, you know, whether you like to take battles really slow and methodical, which is probably what I should learn to do more. So here you can see are one of the double color things here. So And you can see we have more colors at the top of the screen now because we've discovered those options. So this one here, the healing grenade, I actually don't mind this, but it's also not amazing because the grenades that it drops don't heal you very much, but they're good to get you out of something in a pinch. And if I hit the right button, see, it levels up 2 of those categories at the top. So that can be helpful later on as well. And here's a fusing thing. So in order to do this, you need to have a certain amount of money, which is 100 spinny things. And I have those here, so you can pick which character you want to merge, you want to fuse with to gain their abilities. Now, it doesn't show you on this screen what their abilities are, so you're gonna have to maybe know that and make that choice there before. So that's kind of annoying. It dropped a health pickup that I can't use because I don't need it. Oh well. Now this character also has this thing, which is kind of cool. It's a little drone that allows you to scout ahead. I found I haven't had to use this very much. You can also teleport to it. It can be useful for some environmental traversal. I found in terms of charting out levels ahead, it hasn't been that useful to me, but it might become so in later levels where things get more complicated. And this is kind of the idea of it. You're going to pick up additional lore things as you go. One of the things that I find kind of strange about this game is it does have a subtitles option for the dialogue that you'll have back at the home base, but the various different lore entries that you pick up which are kind of like audio logs, as their name would imply, they're fully voiced, but they don't have subtitles. So I hope you can hear them well, because otherwise you might miss some stuff. Now, that, to be fair, the salient details of those do go into your lore book and the pause screen, but still being able to actually, you know, have subtitles for that voice stuff would be nice for sure. It's a little odd that that's left out. And as you can see here as well, you do level up by killing more enemies as you go, and as you do that, you don't level up your current weapons. You unlock the ability to find better weapons going forward, and there is a permanent upgrade you can get as well that allows you to unlock an upgrade station right before you fight a boss. And you can actually pay to take any weapons you currently have up to their higher levels if you want, before you fight a boss, which is kind of cool. There are bosses in this. Some are definitely harder than others, has been my experience. Some of them, but they are all a challenge. But they all have patterns, right? So you're gonna learn them as you go, and you're gonna, as you work at it, because you will have to encounter the same boss multiple times as you do multiple runs. So you will learn their patterns and their methods, and you'll get better at them the more you play, right? That's kind of the way these games work. That's the way roguelites work. It's all about slow and steady progress. It's about doing runs, failing runs, and then not only taking the spoils of those runs to make yourself more powerful in the future so that you can so that previously big challenges won't be as challenging, but also you take the lessons that you learned from your various battles, both good and bad, and learn. Yeah, I'll take that. And as you can see, each of these items too have combos that you can use, and I haven't really been using those. I've just been sort of mashing because I'm recording here, but yes, the combo system in this actually is pretty impressive. The amount of that they've put on different weapons and the amount of things that you can do with that is actually pretty cool. I think that system is pretty neat, and you've got to use those, especially later on. You're going to be dealing with a lot of enemies in a lot of gnarly situations where your enemies are very sort of batched up, and where you've got to really do some crowd control, and it's good for that. So here we go, and then we'll go to the next level of this character's progression here. Now, the one thing I have noticed a little bit, now I have not finished this. Now I'm playing on the lowest difficulty, and the lowest difficulty in this is no pushover. I haven't completed a run of this yet, and I've been playing it for about 8 hours now. So I haven't completed a run yet, but also my ADHD brain, as I've said before, tends to make me rush with games like this. I don't tend to be as patient with them as I should be. So take that for what it's worth, right? But there are 2 higher difficulties in this as well. And the light difficulty is no pushover. So this can pose a pretty good challenge if you want, as games in this genre should. The one thing I am a little bit curious about though is the length. So Dead Cells, even before all the free updates that they put out to it, was pretty beefy. I have yet to finish Dead Cells either, though I've put a lot of time into it and have made a lot of progress. So this isn't actually a boss, even though you're seeing a boss health meter pop up here. This guy is kind of a mini boss for one of these little walled off encounters. There we go. So yeah, the Dead Cells was a pretty chunky game. Had a lot of content in it, a lot of levels, a lot of bosses, and a lot of power-ups that you could earn. This game, I noticed when I was playing it that even though I've only put in about 8 hours so far, there's an achievement in this game for visiting all the different areas, so all the potential levels that you could go into. I'm only missing 1 in order to unlock that at this point. So, and there's only a couple of entries on howlongtobeat.com for people who've completed this, and I know that site is not scientific or anything like that, but I use and contribute to it constantly. I have for years, and that says that the average completion time on this is 3 hours. Now, I'm sure that's probably someone playing on the lightest difficulty who is really good at these kinds of games and steamrolled their way through it, because I haven't finished it yet and I've been playing way longer than that. But based on that achievement, I definitely think that this is a smaller experience than Dead Cells is. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's still a lot here, and this has its cool setting, and its combat is pretty refined. I like it. The combat in this it's fairly snappy and responsive. There's times when I thought the Dead Cells did it better in terms of being a little smoother and a little, like I said, a little bit snappier, but then there's other times where I actually thought this did it better. So I think it's a little bit of a push-pull, you know, one does some things better than the other, or it's just down to these are different play styles with their own sort of designs in it, right? I imagine it's something more akin to that. So this could potentially, especially for people who are really into these kind of games and are really good at them, it is possible that you're gonna find this is a smaller experience than something like a Dead Cells for you. And if you're someone who really likes these games to be, you know, chunky and significant, that might be a thing for you. You know, that might be an issue for you. Based on, so this is a cursed chest here. What the heck? Let's do that. So you see there, yeah, I got it to kill 10 enemies specifically with abilities, and I'm going to take an additional 30% damage, which is really great with the condition that I'm in right now, until I clear that. But I also got this sick ass sword out of it. So, you know, you gotta, I have a nasty habit in these games too of opening everything, even when it's clearly not always in my best interest to do so based on the situation. So take that for what it's worth as well. You know, again, I don't necessarily play these games well. So, or the ideal, you know, in the ideal way in order to ensure maximum survivability. So just, you know, just take that in mind. I never claim to be perfect at these. There's probably a reason I don't finish too many of them, even though I like the genre. So you've of course got teleporters here in the levels that let you zip around if you want to take different paths, which is always kind of cool. And now I've already fused. You can't fuse more than once. So instead this time it's giving me additional possible weapon options that I can purchase. Nah, you know what? I'm good with what I have so far. So, and as you're going to go along, you're going to chart out these levels. You're going to find different things as you go. Oh, that helped a little bit. And you're going to fight the bosses, and you're going to sort of discover the secrets of this place. I really like this sort of multiverse concept that they have, because Dead Cells had a whole bunch of different biomes and different unique areas, yes, but you were always playing the same character, doing the same story in the same world. You just went to different parts of it. This really amps things up a little bit by giving a different narrative justification, yes, for having all these different areas, but they are also giving you multiple different characters who play very different from each other. And I think that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so now you see I've got my third weapon there, which is this ice sword thing, which is, so that also uses energy as well, but it's more of a melee type of ability. So yeah, I like the concept that they've done here. So I think we're gonna see the first boss here. So anything better here? You know what? I think I'm cool. And then this is the upgrade station I talked about. You have to unlock this, but this allows you to spend money if you want to upgrade things that are not yet at their max available power level. So the only thing that isn't is this. Could be useful. Let's do that because I got lots of spare funds right now. So yeah, I like the idea of the multiple characters and the multiple storylines. The characters all play quite a bit different and have different specialties, and you can choose to focus on one if you want. But if you want to mix things up, if you want a little bit of a different experience, and you know you want some different play styles, the game will give you that if you want. And all of the characters are different. I'm not gonna say, wow, I am wrecking this boss. I'm not going to say that any one of these characters is better or worse than the other. I am not a balance expert when it comes to this kind of thing. Certainly not. But I've liked them all. I've personally found the melee focused character, I forget which one that is. I personally found the melee focused character, I get the least far with her. And I don't know if that's because I haven't done a lot of permanent upgrade. You know, maybe I haven't done as many upgrades with her yet, or maybe I'm better suited in this game to play with a, there we go. Maybe I'm just better suited to play this game with a more ranged focused character. Entirely possible there. So this is nice, gives me a total health increase. And this gives me an ice shot, which is quite a bit more powerful than the arc pulse, though I did like the arc pulse a lot for what it did. You know what? I'm actually think I'm going to stick with that. So we'll dismantle that. And then off we go to the next area. So you're getting the idea here. I do enjoy this. I like the way they mix things up, and if you ever kind of feel like you're starting to get bored with playing a character the same way, you can just switch to another one, and things change in a significant enough way that it feels like you've got a lot more variety, and I do like that. The story and concept of this is cool. There we go. So I maxed out orange right there. So I got 30% base damage under certain circumstances. So that's cool. I do like the concept of this multiverse stuff. It is a little hard to follow the lore sometimes, but it's a cool idea, and I am curious to see where the story in this ends up going. You know, I say I don't finish these games very often, and it's true, I don't, but this is one I'd kind of like to see to the end. I do want to see Dead Cells to the end too. I do slowly chip away at Dead Cells a little bit more every once in a while, so you know, I'll get there eventually, and I'll probably get there with this one too. But this has cool ideas, and like I said, yes, it's got Dead Cells written all over it, but that's not a bad thing. Taking something that was super awesome and, you know, retaining what made it awesome, but also adding your own stuff to it is cool. That's iteration, and that's how, you know, that's how good games and sometimes even great games become even better. You know, and I think these guys generally have done a pretty solid job here. I do like it. There's probably some balance tweaks they could make a little bit. I think that for people who need it, they really should add subtitles to those audio log lore entries as you discover them, because they, you know, it is key story stuff. I mean, even if you're not someone who has hearing concerns, it's hard to listen to it sometimes if you pick one up and it's trying to play while you're fighting a battle nearby. Like even then I was kind of like trying to listen to it and I was having a hard time with it, you know? So that's something that I hope they can fix. But this is a cool one of these. You know, I'm glad to see that despite the saturation that we can see in a lot of in the roguelike genre these days, there's still a lot of people making really good ones. This is a genre where, you know, even though it's pretty much relegated to the indie space, it's such a popular genre now with so much variety and so many interesting things happening in it that you're never lacking for one of these to play, and you're never lacking for finding new and interesting ideas as well in this. Someone's always taking this formula, and even if they're just adding subtle tweaks to it, they're still making something different. It doesn't just feel, it's not like what's happening with the, you know, arena survival shooters right now, where it feels like everyone is just trying to cash in on the Vampire Survivors craze by making a game that's just basically that with a different skin on it. That's kind of rampant right now. Whereas this doesn't feel like a weak attempt to cash in on a popular genre. This feels like a developer who played Dead Cells and games like it, really liked it, and went, okay, yeah, but how can we do something that isn't just making another one of those? How can we do something that iterates on a cool formula as opposed to just ripping it off? So kudos to them for that. This is a developer, I was reading up on their website, this is a developer that actually used to make mobile games principally. So, which actually, come to think of it, so did Motion Twin. So I guess they both pivoted into bigger and better things. So good on them for that. And I hope this works out for them. But yeah, if you like you know, third person action platform style in your roguelites, I guess, then I think you'll like this one a lot. And I definitely recommend that Dead Cells fans do not sleep on this, because yeah, I am a Dead Cells fan, and I have been having a pretty darn good time with this. It's doing something, it's something familiar and yet new at the same time, and that's the kind of thing I really love to see these days. So yeah, that is Trinity Fusion. It is out now. I enjoy it. I've been liking it. Will I finish this? I don't know. I intend to finish every game I start and like, and yet I seem to just fail at this utterly when it comes to roguelites. I mean, how long has Dead Cells been out now and I still haven't done it? Yeah, well, you know. But we'll see. That's my aim anyway, is to get through this. I don't think this is necessarily as beefy as Dead Cells is, but that's okay too. You know, things don't have to be super long. So, but it's a good game. It's well made, and I really appreciate what they're doing here. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Those really do help the channel out a great deal. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, does this interest you? Are you a Dead Cells fan who's interested in trying this out? You know, what do you think of this alternate setting that they have versus what Dead Cells did? Does that interest you? And hey, drop your favorite roguelikes down below. There's a lot of them. We know there are, and there's more than I could possibly ever learn about going on right now, and I would love to know what some of the ones are that you guys are into. And you can also follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction. I'm going to be focusing more on doing retro game streams there for a while, focusing on what I'm calling my deep backlog. We're going to be starting that up pretty soon, and we have a fantastic little community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take her easy.